Okay, we are live. Okay, hello. I'm a minute behind schedule, so my apologies for that. We'll start right away. Hello, Pantry Signature. Thank you for joining us. So before I even get into today's topic, let me tell us a little background. I was having a chat. We had just finished a conversation with a client, and jokingly, we started talking about post-COVID implications, and she shared her challenges with hiring now. And her comment was, "Oh, she wishes she could create a jollof job title." She actually called it. She said, how did she call it? She said, a social media admin accountant. Those are the positions she needs, but she can only afford to hire one person. All right. Hello, Miss Glory. Thank you for that. All right. So, and coincidentally, like I said, we've been having requests for employment, and most of the requests are collapsed jobs. All right, so I just thought this was necessary. Let's address this and share tips on how to basically blend jobs properly for a robust job description. All right, so my name is Helen Ochoga of Samoga Consult, and I promise I'm going to be just on this session for 15 minutes. So as an employer, first of all, there are three questions you need to ask yourself when you want to blend a job. First question is why? What's the reason? All right. The three questions, I actually tag them as three R questions. Number one is the reason. Why are you blending or merging the jobs? Is your employee, does he or she have a lot of idle time on their hands, and you want to make sure that they are more engaged? Are you grooming them for some leadership position? Is there a pressing business need that's making you want to merge these positions? Are you trying to create jobs beneath the person for other people to fit in as you hire them? So basically, you want to know what exactly is the reason. Second question now you want to ask is if you're doing it right anyways. All right. So first of all, we also want to understand the difference between a job enrichment and a job enlargement. I will try not to be too technical. Job enlargement basically is the same role, that same job. You're just expanding the person's scope. If you have an admin officer, you're basically just expanding the person's administrative jobs or functions. However, job enrichment is when you actually infuse or introduce external factors. Basically, it's like spicing up the job, making it more interesting, making it more exciting for the holder of that job to basically enjoy. All right, so we've said the first two questions are, first, you want to know what the reason is. Is it a job enrichment? Is it a job enlargement? Are you trying to just get the employee to be more engaged and more busy? Is there a business? Is your business scope expanding and you need your employees to meet up? Is there a financial implication to it? So you'd find out that when you can answer the question of why, implementing it becomes more logical. You're now using the right strategy to address your challenges. All right, and then the next the next question now will be the results. What results do you want to achieve? Fine, you've asked yourself what the reasons are. You've identified the right approaches for doing for implementing your solution. Now you want to ask yourself, what are the results I'm hoping to find? Hoping to achieve at the end of the day. If I expand this job function, what do I want? What do I hope to achieve? What's the objective? Is it a marketing? What's the strategy? What's the objective of? I don't want to put words in your mouth. But here's the thing: there are different reasons. It could be that the result you want is you want to further drive your culture. It could be that you want to introduce quantitative, measurable deliverables to every job. It could be that you want to move this level of employees to a higher level. There are different reasons, but basically it's going to differ from one organization to the other. Just to recap now, before you merge jobs, you want to ask yourself key questions. First, what's the reason behind the merging of the jobs? Are you doing it right? Is it a job enrichment? Is it a job enlargement? What's the right approach to what it is you want to achieve? Then what are the results you want to see at the end of this merging of the jobs? The truth is, it's not just COVID that made us start merging jobs. Employers have been doing this long before COVID-19. However, it's a strategy for employers to be able to meet up with their operational demands and not break their bank, literally. All right. So now moving on, let's talk about the steps that you as an employer needs to adopt in order to properly merge jobs. Okay, so the first thing now is you want to make sure that the skills that you have on ground actually match the skills that you need to create. Okay, so let's do it this way. The truth is that everything about employment is skills. It's about your skills. It's about the competence that your employees have. It's about what they can do. So first of all, as an employer, what you want to do is you want to find out in-house. Do an evaluation of the skills you have in-house. It's like going to the market. Okay, if you want to cook ogbono soup now, for example, you will look for the ingredients of ogbono soup in-house. It's when you don't have, you go out and buy. All right? So it's the same thing. Evaluate the skill sets that you already have in-house, that your employees have. Because jobs have specific skill sets. Let me digress a little. We received an unsolicited application a while ago. I think it was for an accounting position, a fresh graduate. And the first thing the person said was, and it's very common, I don't know why. The first thing the person, I don't know whether it was a he or she, put in his cover letter was that he had very good communication skills. That's a given for everyone. But if you're an accountant, I keep saying this, I don't know why this is the example that keeps coming up. If you're an accountant, the first thing that should come is about your analytical skills, your high ethics, your skill, your in-depth understanding of financial compliance requirements and all of that. Communication skills should be at the back. It's not one of the things you want to put in at the forefront. So as an employer, same thing applies. All right. If you are thinking of merging jobs, you don't take people from one skill set and put in another skill set. There are people who are versatile, all right, but you need to be sure that that person that you're expanding his role is versatile enough to actually fit into that new position that you're putting him to. Square peg, square hole. That's not to say the person is not flexible and can't adopt or adapt to future positions as future requirements. But the thing is, you want to identify that skill is already present in that person. Okay? To break it down, let me hammer on this a little more. There are back-end skills and there are front-end skills. The mistake that we make as employers is trying to force our back-end employees to take on front-end roles. Unfortunately, that's where we start having problems. Okay, and when I say problems, it's not because the employee doesn't want to fulfill the job expectations, but because it's not them. It's not them. That's just it. It's just not them. Okay, so try not to force a back-end skill a back-end skill holder into a front-end skill holder. Second, now you want to avoid generic job descriptions. When I say job descriptions, again, this is another mistake we make as employers. The fact that company A has this job title does not mean we have to lock our own employees into that same job title, because it's like a name. People are known by their names. If I tell people my name is Helen, they will not go and use the meaning of Iyabo to interpret what my name is. When you give a job a title, you are summarizing what that job is. So when you say your hiring someone as an admin officer, and then you now throw in you now throw in handling of school, the dispensary, or handling of staff health issues. When staff are sick, you tell the person to give injections. You are totally diluting the job title. So what I encourage employers to do is, please feel free to be creative with your job titles. Let it reflect what it is you want the employee to do. So do not be locked in job titles. All right, now moving on, and we've spoken about skills, right? We've spoken about personality. We're going to talk about personality now. Just like skills, personalities for jobs differ. It's just like your back end skills that we just spoke about, back end skills and the front end skills. Personalities for jobs differ. Let me give you an example again. I hope I'm not digressing too much. A year ago, we hired a lady for an operations kind of job, and she was doing so well. The employer was always giving us reviews, like every month when we check in to find out how she's doing. She gives us beautiful reviews and says, oh, she's doing this. In fact, she created this, she did this. The employer liked her so much. Unfortunately, ruined the relationship was, she liked her so much, she converted her to her PA. All right, this is someone who was on a desk job career path. She still did well. Unfortunately, a few months later, or was it a month? I can't even remember. A month later, the lady called or sent us a message and said, oh, sorry, she can't continue. She had spoken with her boss to revert her back to the previous position. That even though the pay is more, the job is not really what she wants. Now she's picking kids up from school. Now she wants a desk job. All right. So let's be sure that when we are collapsing jobs, it matches with the personalities and the career growth of the individuals, if we do want the best for that job function. All right, again, let me even emphasize this here. The law says this: you cannot force an unwilling employee on an employer, and vice versa. Even the law backs us on that. Okay, so now this takes us to our next point, which is getting the employees buy-in. It's very common. We will say, but she's my employee now, she should be able to do the job, or I employed them, they should do it. Unfortunately, if you employ them for job A and you're changing the scope later, we need to still have a sit down and agree that it's time to change the terms. Now, how can we do this? Simple. It's not a meeting, it's not something too formal. It could be a general, just a casual conversation. Oh, look, these are the situations, this is what's going on. COVID-19 has affected our business, and now we cannot afford to have 6 people in the sales department. We want to collapse the jobs so that 6 people do frontline sales, and then 3 people do frontline sales, which would have been done by 6 before, and then the other 3 people stay back and do some back end tasks, or depending on the business or the job in question. Have a discussion with your employees. Have an open door policy that encourages them to share their opinion. There's no law that says you must take their suggestions. No, not at all. You don't have to. You're not under any compulsion to take the recommendations of your employees. But trust me, when you hear them out, it gives us another insight into how best to manage them. Okay, all right. Now the next one now is let me see. Oh no, I'm not done with buy-in. One of the advantages of gaining your employees buy-in is it saves you a lot of effort. Previously you have to manage them, you have to coach, sometimes you have to reprimand your employees a lot of times because they're not meeting up with the job expectations. But when you have their buy-in, when they are totally in sync with what it is you want to do, they'll be the ones to tell you, oh sir, I'm better with so and so, so please give me this particular responsibility. Or do you know what, why don't we do it this way? We can run shifts, we can do they will be the ones to give you suggestions on how they want you to implement their own job being expanded. Okay, so but unfortunately, you need to discuss with them. All right, because again, it's an employment. It's not a cult. If you don't want to lose a good employee during this period, share with them, have that conversation with them, exchange ideas, let them know the true situation of the business. Again, you want to be sure that they are on board. Trust me, it's a good step. Do you know why? Because it gives you an opportunity to know who is even on your team and who is not. Some employees will typically tell you, how can they be increasing my salary at this time? There's COVID, as if the COVID is not affected, not salary, increasing my job, as if the COVID is not affecting the business itself. You will then know who your key employees are. You will know the people who are actually bought into your vision. You will know them by the way they even give you suggestions on how to go about handling the challenges at hand. All right, you find employees that will even tell you, oh, you know what, why don't we do it this way? We can work remotely so that we are not spending so much on transportation, and then maybe 1 or 2 people come every 2. Trust me, they'll be the ones to run with the dream and implement it on your behalf. You need to get your employees buy-in. Okay, let me give you the key features of who wants your growth and not just after their pay. Having human understanding is key. Okay, XP apparels. All right, thanks. Do me a favor, if you have less than 5 employees, as you log in, write their job titles, please. I want to make a practical example with somebody's business. Please, if you can just do that. If you have less than 5 employees, even if you are the only employee and you maybe have a dispatch rider, I want to make an example with your business, please. All right, so now just to recap for those who are just joining us, we have said that if you are trying to combine roles or combine jobs for your employees, first of all, you need to ask yourself 3 questions. Number 1, what is the reason? Is it because the employee is idle a lot of times and you want to just increase the person's engagement and get him busy? Is it because you're trying to groom the person for a leadership position? Is it because you want to cut down on your overhead? Is it because of some internal restructuring? You need to know the reason. Then you want to be sure that you're going about it the right way. So the second question is, you ask yourself, am I doing it the right way? Is this a job enrichment or a job enlargement? Am I just trying to expand the job so that the person gets more to do in that same capacity? Or am I trying to include external job functions to make the job more challenging and reward the person accordingly? Now, in doing this, note that it is not a job enrichment if you only increase one aspect of the job. Unfortunately, this is what happens a lot. We increase the job, but we don't have, or we don't increase the accountability or the responsibility. Trust me, if it's job enrichment, you're increasing everything. It's like blowing a balloon or putting air into a balloon. It increases as the shape allows it. That's the same way job enrichment is. You do not increase the job without increasing the remuneration. That's one key aspect. You cannot increase the job without increasing the job remuneration. Now relax. You might say, oh, but mine is a small business, I don't have a lot of money. Don't worry. I am not saying you must double the salary because the person is doing 2 people's job. What I'm saying is, you cannot expect 1 employee to do the job of 5 people and you're still paying the person the salary of 1 job. It is mathematically, ethically, legally not right. Okay? So there's this concept, I'll try not to go into that in this session. There's this concept called job evaluation that helps you know the costs for each, the cost element for each of those each of those jobs. All right, and that is how salaries are arrived at. Stop using Mr. A's salary to benchmark your business, please. It does not help. Mr. A knows where he buys his raw materials. Mr. B probably makes his own. That's why he can afford to pay so and so salaries. Okay, so do not use other people's strategies or their own internal standards to set yours. Forget it. You can set a salary that is below industry rates and your employees will be happy, because maybe your own operations are more flexible for them to even have time to do other things, or it's not so demanding that they spend what they would have typically spent in other employments. Okay, so please also make sure that the remuneration is a fair reflection of the enrichment or the job expansion that we've done. Lastly, how do I even communicate this? Lastly, anybody that tells you you need to hire 15 people in order to be a structured organization is not, well, I don't want to say is lying, but that's not factual. It will depend totally on your business. Let me just summarize it this way. As I was trying to I have a friend who started a consulting company a while ago, and we were talking and he was complaining about, well, typical consulting issues. Eventually we recommended, it wasn't even a recruitment, we recommended a secretary for him. He needed, well, he had internal or operational challenges. We recommended, because we have a huge database of employees, we recommended somebody for him as a secretary. Then we trained her on how to use apps, some apps. Now he's running his operations smoothly. So the truth is, sometimes we have to embrace, not sometimes, we have to embrace technology. Instead of overburdening your current employees with physical work, there are tasks that you can push to technology. There are tasks that you can give to apps to take care of. Now, your accounting, well, I don't want to put accountants down, but there are apps that keep record of your transactions. At the end of the month, you pull up a report, give it to your accounting consultant or your auditor or your your internal auditor or your internal control person or external auditor for that matter to scrutinize for you. If you are already keeping tidy inventory, you already know the levels that your requisition should be escalated. Technology is unfortunately taking over jobs. So please, instead of burdening your employees with physical jobs, trust me, you could actually have a few employees and then outsource some of these services to technology. Meanwhile, your business is running smoothly. Your pocket is not crying. Well, you're not spending too much because the apps, most of the apps are free. But of course, if you want premium service, you have to pay the... Okay, good. So somebody has responded. He says, I have one paid employee and 3 other members. Okay, they're apprentices. Oh, I needed their job positions, please. Can you share with me their job positions? What are their titles? I want to give you an idea of how best we can merge this. Unfortunately, we have exhausted our 15 minutes, but I will see if I can make an example with someone. Someone says, I have... Okay, no. Can someone please just quickly drop their staff's job titles? I want to use your business as a practical example. Schools everything. Hi, and thank you too. Can you please tell me, even if it's just 3 employees you have, I want to make a practical example of how you can expand their jobs without necessarily hiring more people and without necessarily overburdening them. And then again, those apps that you can use to ease the job so that you don't get employees complaining all the time. I'm scrolling to see if I can see... Oh dear. Okay, so it looks like we might not be able to take more. Oh, great. Somebody has responded. PT Cakes Food Lifestyle. I have an assistant baker and a sales rep. Okay, so assistant baker, sales rep. If you bake, let me see if I can make a practical example here. Your sales rep, assistant baker, that means you are the chief baker. You have an assistant baker. All right, so good. So what it is you have delineated, you have separated your back end from your front end. I don't know if you were here at the time where we discussed back end and front end skills. So your assistant baker is at the back end. He or she helps you with the technical aspect of the business. So he or she should be responsible for everything that has to do with your inventory. For instance, so admin on the back end now, inventory, taking stock of what is available, how long is it going to last. If you have an order for 12 cakes and you have flour for that will make for just 7, he or she is the one supposed to be able to flag those things up. He or she is the one supposed to ensure quality, especially when you're dealing with edibles. Quality control is a key selling factor, is a key selling proposition. PT Cakes is looking for a decorator now. All right, we'll talk about that, but let me just talk about the 2 positions you've dropped for us. So the person at the back end is the one responsible for ensuring quality control, ensuring that the order meets the delivery meets the specification of the client. If the client wanted a 6-inch cake, he or she is supposed to ensure that it's 6-inch cake. And then your salesperson is now your front end person based on the information you've given us, PT Cakes. Okay, so your salesperson is the one who liaises with the customers. He or she is the brand, he or she is the customer service, he or she is the sales. So his job or her job is not just sales, her job is customer service, admin, front end administration, sales, customer interface, of course, because he or she is the one responsible for breaking the ice with customers, keeping a database of their contact details, making sure that the person who requested for a birthday cake last year, you send the person an SMS a week before their birthday so that the person can order another cake, So there's a customer service interface. There's a customer service aspect to sales. The fact that he or she is a salesperson in a cakery or a bakery does not mean they're only responsible for selling cakes. And PT Cakes, I don't know if that addressed your, I don't know if I did justice to helping you there, okay? But basically, I'm sure that's just the surface of what it should look like, all right? So unfortunately, we have exceeded our 15 minutes timeline, but I'm hoping it was a helpful and beneficial session. Please leave us a comment on. All right, sorry about that. We can't take more job descriptions, but you can send us a direct message and we will see what we can do with that. But again, please leave us a message or a comment on the main post so that we know how and if this session has been beneficial to your business. Thank you for being such a wonderful audience, and see you. All right, thanks PT Cakes. All right, great. I'm glad to hear that. All right, so thanks for being a great audience again, and have a lovely, lovely weekend. Ciao.